It's hot at Charlotte, North Carolina, and that's going to be the story over the next hour of pole position qualifying for the 36th annual UAW-GM 500. Some 49 cars to run one lap, and the fastest of the 49 will start Sunday's running of the 36th annual 500-mile race. There you see some of them lined up on pit road, others still going through inspection at this hour. And let's go to the man who's going to lead them off. First car on the track today from Spokane, Washington, number 97, Chad Little. There you see Steve Burns with him.
Ken, Chad Little is all concentration now. He's the first man off the grid, as you said. Chad's doing double duty this weekend. Of course, today he'll try and qualify his Winston Cup car. Tomorrow, the Busch Grand National. I asked Chad just moments ago if he was comfortable with his car, and he said, yeah, I think we're safely in somewhere in the middle of the pack. Now, I asked him about his Busch car, and he just winked, so I think that one's dialed in. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, the man of the hour here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway is the same gentleman we've been talking about all year in Winston Cup racing. His car is now going through inspection. That is Jeff Gordon, driver of the DuPont Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Rumors in the garage area. He is quick again here at Charlotte. Be hard-pressed to say that he is not the guy to beat for the pole position here this afternoon. Now, Gordon does not go out until 45th. That's 45 cars before Gordon will take to the racetrack. Other guys that are quick in practice, one of his teammates, Terry Labonte. So we'll keep our eye on Jeff Gordon, and we'll go back upstairs to Ken Squire. Ken?
And welcome, friends, and here we are, ready for another qualifying round. With me is Dr. Dick Berggren. Up here, we talk miles per hour. Last year, we had that record at 185.7 by Ward Burton. On pit road, it's a totally different language.
It really is. They don't talk about miles an hour on pit road, Ken. What they talk about is lap times, and virtually every lap, somebody's got a stopwatch on virtually every car. And last spring, Gordon's run was 29.370. In pit crew language, they'd say he ran a 37. And so that's about the kind of lap time you've got to go. Ward Burton did a 185.759, 29.070 last fall. That's the record.
Take a look at the pole sitters in 1995. And as you consider that list, consider that only 4 of 27 races this year have been won from the pole. Gordon at Rockingham, Marlin at Talladega, and Mark Martin at Watkins Glen, as well as Bobby Labonte in that great performance at Michigan. Now, those are the folks that have won poles this year. As we get down to time, Morris Metcalf will be making the call to send that first car out. And because we were rained out on Wednesday night, didn't get a lick of qualifying in, we're ready to run today, not 2, but 1 lap, Dick. And what does that do to these guys?
Well, they've just absolutely got to hit it right the first time. There's no second chance this year.
Cranked and rolling, the Harris Teeter, number 97, Chad Little. Winner 6 times this year in Grand National Racing. First car on the track. Going down through the first and second turns on that 24-degree banking into that short back straightaway, picking up speed.
That's an old car. It was built in the winter of 1992. It's the same car he used here in the spring, Ken. His goal at that time was to stay in the lead lap. Didn't quite work out that way. He was the first car out. He only lasted 9 laps with a blown engine. So he's hoping for a better day today.
Gary Cogswell car coming by. He was the first one out on the 600. Here he comes to green. Chad Little. 5 600 starts here at Charlotte and 4 500 starts. His best performance, 1991, when he brought it home in 10th spot. Currently number 2 in the Grand National standings. And on TBS this Saturday, you will see him in action in that race at 1 o'clock. That's the All-Pro Auto Parts bumper-to-bumper event. That's coming up at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Coming around, Chad Little out of turn 4. Back into the tri-oval. First time of the day, about to be registered. Waiting on Chad Little, it's a 30.559, 176.707 miles per hour. Ricky Craven will be next on the track as Gordon rolls out. Chad Little at 176.7 on his lap, and now you see the star from New England, Ricky Craven, fighting for Rookie of the Year honors and has become a part owner of this Hedrick team, number 41, as he comes up to speed.
He's used to the pressure of being a car owner. He was a car owner for himself when he ran in the Busch Series and did so very well just before coming to Winston Cup racing. Did well here in the spring. He scored a 10th place finish. That was one of his 3 top 10 finishes in 1995 so far. He does very, very well here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Still looking for his first pole. Comes in here as leader of Rookie of the Year standings over Robert Presley, 198 to 192 as they get ready for Sunday's go. You're watching Ricky Craven out of Newburgh, Maine, coming out of turn 4 to complete his lap of qualifying. Car number 41 to the stripe, the Kodiak Chevy. Checkered flag is down, and the time coming up for Ricky Craven is a 30.025. 179.6. Take that back. 179.8. 179.850. Let's go to the pits and Steve Burns.
Ken, I'm with Steve Meal, Mark Martin's crew chief. Steve, I keep hearing the Hendrick cars are fast this morning. That's no big surprise. How about the Valvoline team?
Oh, you're right. The Hendrick cars are awful fast. The Valvoline team's doing a real nice job. We didn't qualify well here in the spring, and I don't know how great we're going to be this time. We were upset Wednesday night we had such a low qualifying number because it'd get faster as the night went on. But today I think it might get a little slower as the day goes on. I don't think it'll be any cooler at 1 o'clock than it is right now. So we feel like maybe we've been blessed a little bit there. With a little bit of luck, we'll probably be able to make the top 10 or 15. And with Mark's usual stellar job on Sunday, we think we'll race real good. So we don't feel like we're going to qualify up front, but I think we'll race real fine.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
One career pole for this man at North Wilkesboro a year ago. It's Smokin' Joe's T-Bird, Jimmy Spencer, smoking around the 1.5 miles right now, up on the 24-degree banking of turns 3 and 4.
Spencer is a very, very strong racer, but he has not had good qualifying runs here at Charlotte. He qualified 38th here in the spring for this race last fall, 25th. See if he can do better today.
Jimmy Spencer becoming the second quickest at 30.477, 177.183. And for the moment, Ricky Craven is on the pole for the 500. On the Speedway with 28 career poles, 4 pole positions in 1995. It's Mark Martin settling down, winner at North Wilkesboro in an incredible performance. Here he comes to the line.
I'll tell you what, if I was Mark Martin, I think I wouldn't want to sit on the pole here at Charlotte. He's done it twice. In 1991, he won the pole in the spring and the fall, blew up both races. I think I'd rather qualify back and finish the race if I could.
176.499, Dick, was where he qualified in 91 for this race on the pole. Here he is in the back straightaway, gathering speed into turn 3, just a light lift out of the throttle, then up on the banking and coming around to complete the single lap. 5 poles in 93. Only Schrader has more. Back to in that year of 93, back to the line. And let's see. Time coming up on Mark Martin. Gee whiz, I'm surprised. Take a look at that one. It's being registered on Mark Martin as a 30.111.179.336. Craven is still faster.
Yeah, he is. And look at that, 3 miles an hour faster than he sat on the pole here in 1991. And that tells you how much faster Winston Cup cars are now.
Watching Ricky Craven here, who's for the moment on the pole. Next out should be Dale Jarrett. And indeed it is, the Haviland Thunderbird in his 9th start here at Charlotte. That Haviland Thunderbird won here in 93 with Ernie Irvin. Won this race with Davey back in 1990 over Morgan Shepherd. You saw Robert Yates looking on as car number 28 settles down for its run. The defending champion in this race. It started 22nd a year ago. Dale Jarrett brought it home first.
That is a great car, Ken. That's the same one that Ernie Irvin drove here in the fall of 93. He led all but 6 laps in the race in the fall of 1993. Same car here. This is also the car that Jarrett used at Pocono for that big win. It was his first win, and so far at least his only win in 1995.
Last year won the 500 on Sunday. Remember the last few laps under caution, had a great fight. More about that later. Off the corner, had to twitch it a little as he brought it down out of 4. Flags down on the Robert Yates. Larry McReynolds looking very pleased. But let's see what the time is. That's 5th. Ernie Irvin up there watching. That's 30.843, 175.080. That leaves Craven up on top. And for the moment, he's the man on the pole. Randy Pemberton is standing by with him now.
Well, we had a little conversation yesterday, Ricky and I, and you said how much you like this racetrack. It's proven so. You qualified well here for the spring race 3rd, and you're sitting on the pole as of right now. Congratulations on a good run.
Well, I really appreciate that, Randy. It's pretty good. if it were different conditions, I'd probably be more worried than I am. You know, I'm certain that's not going to hold up. But I think it'll probably be top 10 easy enough. And if it gets warmer and warmer, maybe top 5.
Good run, and of course he's battling for Rookie of the Year honors with Robert Presley right now, so a good qualifying effort will help that effort towards that rookie title. Ken Squire?
17 career poles for Rusty Wallace. Won this race in '88, and that was the only time he ever broke into the top 5 in qualifying. Here's Wallace coming down to complete his run.
Rusty's not a great qualifier, but he's a great finisher. He's got 2 wins here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway so far.
Got himself a third right now to start. Yeah, 30.285. That's a 178.306. 178.306. That means Craven's fast, Mark Martin's second, and Rusty Wallace in third. And now we're going to see Bobby Hamilton try to put it on him. Boy, they seem to have found some horsepower this year.
Boy, they have found something. And I asked Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, Ken, I said, where is all the speed coming from? They have run so well in the last 4 or 5 races. And he said, I don't know. We're doing exactly the same stuff we have always done before. And apparently King Richard Petty has told him, look, man, it's just a matter of circumstances. When the circumstances are right, if you've been working hard, the car is going to go. And he has been flying in that 43.
I asked Richard about that last night, and he said, I said, where are you getting all this extra power? He says, from the driver.
Really?
Yeah.
What a compliment from Richard Petty.
Petty cars looking for their first pole since back in 1979. This is Bobby Hamilton out of Nashville, Tennessee, cranking up the STP number 43 Pontiac, coming to the stripe. Time coming in. And we have Bobby Hamilton now third at 30.147 for number 43. That's a 179.122. 179.122, third quickest. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Ted Musgrave rolls off after Morgan Shepherd. Ted, how are you guys set up after practice this morning?
Well, we got to get a little bit tighter because the sun's come out and it's got a little hotter out, so the times have slowed down. The racetrack's got a little slicker. Hopefully we made the right decision. We tightened the car up just a little bit from the morning.
Thanks, Ted.
84 and 87 champion in the 500 from Dawsonville, Georgia. Bill Elliott brings the McDonald's T-Bird across the line to take green.
Elliott has had some very, very strong runs here at Charlotte. On his way back with a family team. He's got 2 wins here, 1987, 1984, a pole in the fall race of 1985, and 18 starts in this fall event.
And a pole in, I think it was 174 that was the last time he was on the pole, and wound up 8th that year. Here he is trying to get himself back up on top of this field for Sunday's race. Bill Elliott's time coming up. And for Bill Elliott, it's 7th quickest, 30.761, 175.547. Back in a moment. 15th start at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. If he makes it into this show, Sunday, the 500 for Morgan Shepherd, lame duck driver, already looking for a ride for next year. Wood Brothers, number 21, famous for those great years with David Pearson, setting all kinds of qualifying records at this track and with Neil Bonnet. To the line comes Morgan Shepherd, 7 career poles.
And the Wood Brothers have been especially strong here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. In the days of David Pearson, that was always the car to beat for the pole here.
His best start, Morgan's best start, was 4th back in '82. That's when Harry Gant won this race.
A long time ago. He's got 7 career poles and 410 career starts. And right now he's got all that stuff in his resume. He's walking through the garage area looking for a ride.
53-year-old Morgan Shepherd brings it down for the checkers. Time coming up on Shepherd, and he's 3rd quickest right now at 179.330. The time 30.112, just 1/1000th of a second behind Mark Martin. To Steve Burns.
I'm with Ward Burton. Ward, you go out 27th. I know you're an interested spectator. I keep hearing rumors that you're the fastest car out here.
Well, we ran awful good. We were running really better on old tires than we were on new tires, so maybe that'll mean something for the race. But MB&A cars, we've gotten better the whole time we've been here, and we're just hoping for a good lap and get up there as far as we can.
Good luck, Ward. Thanks.
You're watching Ted Musgrave in the Family Channel Thunderbird. A week ago, he took his first pole of the season. over there at North Wilkesboro, and his teammate was right alongside Mark Martin, who went on to victory. 4 career poles for Ted Musgrave, now into turn 2.
Never won a pole here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but has always run well here. Qualified 27th here in the spring, 29th this race last year.
Just burps it a little over there in 3. Back in it strong, coming out of 4. Here's Ted Musgrave of Franklin, Wisconsin. Shuts her down, and Musgrave has himself a 5th position for the moment at 30.247. Craven looking on, the man on the pole. 178.530 for Musgrave, 30.247. As Ted Musgrave brings it in.
Imagine what must be going on in Craven's mind right now, thinking about this deal of being on the pole and here at Charlotte.
Here's Darrell Waltrip settling in to run, the 81 winner. Let's go to Steve Burns as DW gets set. Steve?
Ken, I went into Darrell's garage stall just a while ago. They have changed just about everything on that car but the paint job. They changed springs, shocks, track bar, again, everything but the number.
Only pole he's won in this race was back in '81 when he came out the winner over Bobby Ellis.
He's won 6 career Winston Cup races here, 5 Grand National races here. This is a track that very much suits Darrell Waltrip and his style.
But his last pole was Martinsville in '92, 58 to his credit. Let's see what this one's going to be for car number 17. Darrell Waltrip is 7th quickest at 30.394, 177.667. Craven remains the man on top. More in a moment. The UAW-GM Quality 500 qualifying on Prime is being brought to you by Sports Cream. When you overdo it, massage in Sports Cream for fast relief of sore muscles without embarrassing odor. Taking a look at Jeff Purvis in number 44 out of Clarksville, Tennessee with Dr. Dick Berger, and I'm Ken Squire topside. Steve Burns and Randy Pemberton down along pit road, qualifying for the 36th annual UAW-GM Quality 500 Sunday. And Purvis coming down out of 4 to complete his run, really scooped it up to the wall, moves it back across the stripe. That might have cost him some time.
Lucky it didn't cost him a race car. He got right out there, Ken.
31.696, a 170.369, slowest time of the day. 12th car on the track. The Jackaroo number 44 for Jeff Purvis, 170.369.
Craven still quick. Mark Martin 2nd. Morgan is 3rd fast.
Get a little more information right now from Randy Pemberton as we watch Kyle Petty coming to speed.
Some heavy rumors going around the garage area here this afternoon that, of course, if you've watched Winston Cup racing all year, you know the struggles of Kyle Petty and the Sabco racing team. Mired deep in the pack in the Winston Cup point standings, although he did win a race at Dover. Speculation is that at least 3 crew members off of Rusty Wallace's team will be leaving at the conclusion of 1995. Included in that, possibly David Evans, the engine builder for Rusty Wallace, and another mechanic who will become crew chief for Kyle Petty, Billy Woodruff. So they're beginning to shake it up as far as the crew members go here, beginning 1996. So a lot of swapping going on. Ken?
8 poles for car number, or driver of number 42, Kyle Petty, as he brings around the Coors Light Pontiac.
And you wonder why those guys are leaving? Larry McReynolds confirmed to me yesterday, Ken, that he was offered $1 million just to sign on as the crew chief of that team, plus a salary of $250,000 and whatever else he might need.
Kyle Petty at 30.250, 178.512 makes him the 6th quickest. And still, it's Craven up in front for the 500 Sunday. Watching Dal McCowart give it a try out of Savannah, Georgia. This is his 3rd attempt this year, and he has failed to qualify in 2 previous performances. Dal McCowart coming to speed in car number 0.
It'll be tough to make this field today as well. A lot of strong cars here, and a bunch of them are going to go home on the trailer without making it. And
we should mention here they're taking 25 cars instead of the usual 20 as they push that qualifying back. 2 days late in getting qualifying ready. 3 of the top 5 thus far have never won a race sure that's the guy on the pole, Ricky Craven, the rookie. See what Dal McCowart's done. Dal McCowart's in at 169.353. His time 31.886. Masters in car 31.886. 169.353. Steve Byrne standing by with Ricky Rudd.
Another car to watch today. A lot of folks in the garage area saying Ricky Rudd may be the man to beat. Ricky, pretty quick this morning.
Well, we were very quick in practice, you know, one of the top 2 or 3 cars, and it's a little different now. The heat's out here. We're going to have to find out who the fast man is. It's going to be some guessing going on because the track conditions are changing throughout the day. But this Tide Ford has been as quick as anybody, so I feel like there's a pole speed if we just get that lap out.
Okay, good luck, Ricky. Now, Ricky's crew chief, Billy Engel, announced that he will be leaving, but it doesn't seem to affect their performance today.
Green is out for Junior Johnson's Lowe's Ford. Brett Bodine, the 36-year-old from Chemung, New York, who set on the pole back in 1990 for this event.
Yep, finished 8th in that race, Ken. And this guy really knows how to qualify at Charlotte, if anybody does. He has qualified in the top 10 for every race here at Charlotte since 1992.
When he sat on the pole in 1990, Dick, it was a 174.3 that put him there for Kenny Bernstein. Here he is for Junior, back to the stripe. Time coming up on car number 11. Looks like 8th quickest at 30.296. 30.296. 178.241 for Brett Bodine. 8th quickest. Still Craven first. Mark Martin second. Morgan Shepherd third. And Bobby Hamilton fourth. Here's the 15 car getting ready for a run.
Yeah, and you walk through the garage and talk to drivers about what they're going to do next year, and an awful lot of them that don't have a solid ride say, well, I think maybe I'll be able to get into that 15 car. They are auditioning drivers, talking to a lot of different people. Nothing is set. The current driver, Dick Trickle, is looking, and it's not ruled out he still might drive that automobile in 1996.
Here he comes at 53. In car number 15, the Quality Care Ford under green. Donnie Wingo has his hopes on this. Trickle for an 11th start here for the 500. He has 1 career pole back in 1990.
Started 10th in this race last year, finished 13th.
Well, you think back on that Bud Moore car way back, the second race they ran in this fall series. Guy from Virginia named Weatherly won that race for Bud Moore. Joe Weatherly pulled it off.
54 years old, Dick Trickle. Soon to be 54.
Right on the bubble as far as 54 is concerned.
Yeah, his birthday's the 27th of this month, so he's 53 still, but start lining up a birthday present for Dick Trickle.
He just gave himself one. How about 5th fastest thus far at 30.199, 178.814. The 40 car ready to come out. So again, it's Craven, Martin, Shepherd, Hamilton, Trickle, the top 5 as we watch Rich Bickle. Gee, he's done some outstanding racing here at Charlotte and Grand National.
He sure has. He's had some good, strong runs here. Pole in the Grand National race here in the springtime.
Underway, Rich Bickle in the Kendall Oil Pontiac driving for Richard Brooks and Felix Cervetis. Jeff Hammond, the crew chief on that machine. Comes up out of the hole, down the back straightaway from 2. Rich Bickle, just 34 years old, from Edgerton, Wisconsin. Boy, Wisconsin, Michigan just keep cranking them out, don't
they? They sure do. They send us some awfully good race car drivers, and this is definitely one of them. 6 different men have driven this race car in 1995. The car owner, Dick Brooks, is shuffling around the various players.
So, time coming up for number 40, and it's 13th fastest for Bickle at 30.609. Speed 176.419. And still it's this man, Ricky Craven from New England, on the pole. On the Speedway, watching car number 81 come to speed, Kenny Wallace in the TIC Financial Ford.
Well, there's a guy with a great future ahead of him. He's got a truck deal for next year. He's got a Grand National deal for next year. He's got a Winston Cup deal for next year. He's got all kinds of irons in the fire. And he just knows that he has got a lot more ability than his record shows, that he can win races in this Winston Cup division. And all of his fans agree that he sure can. Been a strong player in Grand National racing for a long, long while. Started out in this league working on engines for his brother.
Right now, 4 of the top 6 qualifiers have never won a race. Craven, Hamilton, Trickle, Musgrave. Of those top 6. Back to the line comes Wallace. And as he completes his run, see what Kenny cranked out. And Wallace is 13th quickest now at 30.577. And you can put his speed up at 176.603. 176.603. Take a look at the top 5 thus far. It's Craven on top, Mark Martin, Morgan Shepherd, Hamilton, and Trickle in the top 5, and just behind them, Musgrave 6th, followed by Kyle Petty 7th, Rusty Wallace 8th, Brett Bodine 9th, and Darrell Waltrip. Here's the 93 coming out to give it a go today. This is Gary Bradbury out of Chelsea, Alabama.
Interesting that two of our top 5 qualifiers don't have a ride lined up yet for 1996. And what a good way to audition for a ride. Put yourself right up in the front of the pack for the race here on Sunday afternoon.
Bradbury has not qualified yet this year. He changed numbers for this race. He has tried 6 times and hasn't made it this year. Has run only 1 Winston Cup this year, and he's tried 6 events and failed to qualify. Only 1 of them in Winston Cup.
Made his name in ARCA racing.
See what we get here on that run for car number 93. 15th out of the 19 that have run at 30.678. 176.022.
And to put that in perspective, he has done better than both Bill Elliott and Dale Jarrett. A good run for Gary Bradbury.
Take a look here at Dave Marcus getting ready for a go, trying for his 789th start. Richard Petty is the only guy with more, and he has tons more. Argue about how many starts Richard really has, but no argument about Dave Marcus, one of the venerable champions here in Winston Cup racing. Going for his 25th start in this event, the Olive Garden STG Chevrolet for David Marcus, out of native of Wausau, Wisconsin.
Part of the problem with those records, Ken, is that he started so far back. He began his Winston Cup career in 1968 at the age of 27, and records weren't nearly as good back then as they are now. I mean, right now, if you run a lap in Winston Cup, you're in the record book forever, and everybody knows about it. But back then, it was, well, not such a big deal.
Well, but you can always ask Greg Cruz.
Yeah, and he'll have the answer for you, too.
He'll have the answer.
Yeah.
How about 10th quickest thus far? 20 cars have run. Is that correct? 20 or 22 now have run against the clock. And as Ricky Rudd rolls, let's give you Dave Marcus time. 30.352, 177.912. That's for 10th fastest. Randy Pemberton.
Well, a press release out this morning as to Ricky Rudd's crew chief, Billy Engel. What will he do in 1996? Diamond Ridge Racing with driver Steve Grissom. That's where he will go. He's been named manager of race operations, and he'll be the Winston Cup crew chief. On top of that, he'll drive in some NASCAR Super Truck races and Busch Series events. So now who will line up with Ricky Rudd in 1996 as his crew chief? Speculation, possibly Jeff Hammond, who has been released from the 40-car team. So as I said early on, a lot of crew member changes coming up in the closing months of the Winston Cup Series. Ken?
20th start for Ricky Rudd in the Tide Ford, number 10. Best 500 start was back in 80 when he lined up on the outside of the front row beside Buddy Baker.
Good, strong run. Engel told me yesterday that this car is as good a car as they have ever brought to Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's very similar to the car he ran so well with at Wilkesboro, I guess.
You're right. How about this? Ricky Rudd for the pole at 29.904. The first man to break 180. 29.904 for Ricky Rudd, and the speed 180.578. So Ricky Craven looking on says, well, I told you so.
You know, he seems almost relieved that he's not going to have to wait for Jeff Gordon, who's so far back in this group.
So front row right now is Rudd and Craven for the 500 on Sunday, which you'll be seeing on TBS. Jimmy Hensley on the Speedway in the Hardy Chevy Lumina number 31.
He's the third different driver to run that car in 1995. Ward Burton started in it, and Greg Sachs ran it for a couple of races, and now Hensley. Hensley seems to jump into anything that needs a driver, does well with all of it.
17th quickest to date at 30.644, 176.217, 176.217 for the Hardys. Number 31 just coming to completion of its one lap and one lap only today in qualifying.
Remember, only the top 25 make it today. The rest are going to have to go with a second round qualifying attempt sometime later.
So we're looking at car number 66. This is Billy Standridge out of Shelby, North Carolina. And he's trying to get in this one again and running some baby grands, graduate of the Busch Series as well. Billy Standridge giving it a go.
Haven't seen him around very much in Winston Cup competition. Runs almost anything and runs it very, very well. Not a big winner, but a good, solid journeyman race. Whoa! Trouble for Standridge. He loses it, hits the wall. Standridge into the wall hard between turns 3 and 4.
The Buck Johnson Billy Standridge car, that's the Trop Arctic machine, using up that concrete in turns 3 and 4.
You saw the roof flaps come up in the top of that thing. Boy, he really just took her right around it into the wall. Boom.
Heartbreaker for crew chief Kelvin Humphreys. Remember his dad, great racer over at Metrolina for years, Preston Humphreys. Let's take another look at what just happened here with car number 66, Billy Standridge.
Well, he's all set so far going into the corner. No problem so far. Well, there it is. Little wiggle going into the corner. He tries to gather it up. It doesn't get gathered up. Backwards. Boom. There he goes.
So the track is under caution. We've got another look at it here as to what happened to the number 66.
Looked like he just got a little bit of a wiggle there and tried to gather it back up again, almost certainly without taking his leg out of it, and there she goes, and that's all she wrote. Now he's got her all locked up. He knows the hit's going to come. That's the hard part, when you know you're going to hit hard, and he did.
The Phillips Trop Arctic Ford into the third turn wall on the 1.5 Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go to Ricky Rudd, who's standing with Randy right now on pit road, the pole sitter for the moment.
Ricky, how about the tide ride today? Pretty quick out there.
Well, we've been quick all week. You know, we unloaded, we were the quickest, and then Jeff Gordon and Labonte put up some pretty good laps right before we went into qualifying. And it's hard to say, you know, I thought we'd run a little quicker, but then the heat got up. It's getting pretty hot. The longer it goes, I think the slower the track will be. So the Tide Ford, the Downey Ford, was just a little bit too tight in the middle of the corner. If I had my choice, I'd go back, loosen it up a little bit, and rake a run again. But all in all, we have to be really happy with that run.
Do you think it'll stand? As you said, the heat is going to get a little hotter out there for us. And would you run a 9:04, I believe it was? Do you think Gordon and those guys can beat that?
Well, in practice, we had run an 83. We had run an 83 in practice. Gordon, Labonte had run like a 74 or 5, and Gordon ran like a 76. So they were about a half a tenth quicker. If everything works relative, they should probably run an 80. We run a 90. Or they'll run an 85, we'll run a 90. Hope not, but I hope the 90 will stand, but I feel like it's going to be up in the top 5 somewhere anyway.
But more importantly, this guy looking for a win to keep alive a streak that has gone on for some time in Winston Cup Racing, wants to go 13 years in a row with winning a race. So Ricky Rudd on the pole for now. Who's next? Steve Burns?
Randy, the record book shows us that Bobby Labonte won the Coca-Cola 600 back in May, but the car that looked like it had everybody covered was Ken Schrader's. Now, I talked to crew chief Ken Howes just a moment ago. This is the same car that Ken ran earlier in May, and as a matter of fact, Ken's sitting here that's coming off. Ken, how'd you guys practice this morning?
Not bad, but we're more geared up for Sunday than we are today.
Okay, good luck, Ken.
89 champion of the event, Ken Schrader. While the number 66 car is being put on the hook, and there you see the driver being taken away. Billy Standridge limping there as he steps off from the Trop Arctic car.
Well, it's not unusual when you hit so hard on the side. Feet tend to go over, and if he didn't have enough bracing in his seat area around the feet, and a lot of these cars now, the seat runs all the way down to a driver's ankles, and if he didn't have that, he may well have whacked an ankle against a pedal, or he may have whacked it against the roll bar.
Now here's a guy that you talk about being on the bubble. Here's John Andretti looking nervously on for a moment here, waiting for his shot at getting out here today. He's about 4 away from making his qualifying. And how about Joe Nemechek, car number 87? He's the next guy to go. He knows there's been a problem out here in turn 4, and he has to kind of think about that, and think about that, and wonder about that. take a look at the top 20 to the moment. It's Rudd, Craven, Martin, Shepard, Hamilton, the top 5.
And then Dick Trickle, Musgrave, Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, Brett Bodine make up the top 10.
Going back a little further, Marcus 11th, followed by Waltrip Spencer, Chad Little, and Kenny Wallace.
And then it's Rich Bickle, Jimmy Hensley, Gary Bradbury still in there, Bill Elliott, and Dale Jarrett.
So they've got car number 66, the Trop Octa car, up on the hook, and we'll take a break and be back with more qualifying from Charlotte. What do you do when you're next to last to qualify for the UAW-GM 500 on Sunday? Well, if you're Derek Cope, you get a few rays up on top of the truck and watch the others out there flogging these cars for one lap to see who can come out on top. Derek Cope with Bobby Allison, he'll get a crack next to last to take that pole position. Well, no better time than right now for a Sports Cream Pit Report with Ramby Pemberton.
Well, this is where all the public relations people, crew chiefs, drivers gather after they go out and run. This is called the Busch Scoreboard. It's run with Nikki Taylor over here, who keeps track of Busch scoring. She gets all the radio transfers from NASCAR on the speeds, writes them up here on the board. And this is the only opportunity these people have to determine who goes out and when they go out, and also what speeds they run. So they keep apprised of what's going on back here at the Busch Scoreboard. And this is what everybody is shooting for right here. This is the NASCAR Winston Cup Series Busch Series 1995 Pole Award for Charlotte. Every driver going for that, plus a big chunk of money today, $32,500 to win this pole position. Steve?
Well, Dale Earnhardt's playing hide and go seek back here, talking to Bobby Hillin. What do you got today, Mr. Earnhardt?
A black race car.
Good looking black race car. How's it been running?
Running good in practice. My qualifying is never good, so I don't know what to expect. We're just going to wait and see.
All right, man. Good luck. Thank you.
See that pace car? You want to see some anxious, concern, worry knitted into the brow of a race driver. You ought to be in there. There's Joe Nemechek. He said, I'm not going out there. I'll take a look at what that track looks like. Nemechek getting a ride with Elmo Langley right now.
That's really unusual. I don't ever remember NASCAR taking a driver around. Ordinarily, NASCAR does the inspection of the racetrack, and you know, you can pretty well trust those guys, but apparently Nemechek wanted to take a look for himself, and they agreed to let him do it. So.
I recall DW doing that, and I think I've seen Elliott do that. They certainly have the right to take a look at it. You got to be a little anxious when you can pull as much speed, what, 190 going into turn 1 on this racetrack, and average speed right now is staying about 180. Crew guys looking things over. Nemechek ready to cinch up in the Burger King Chevy and give it a go here today, looking for his first pole in this race. Joe Nemechek out of Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah, so that was a crew member riding around, not Joe.
No,
Joe's strapped into the car.
There you are.
I tell you, you can count,
yeah,
you can count on NASCAR to do a good job. I think I would trust them more than I would trust myself. But then again, I'm not a big race car driver either. Well, there goes Joe.
All right, we were given some information that Joe was out there. Indeed, Joe was waiting right there. He said, I'll send one of my guys out.
Yeah,
trust him more than I trust anybody else.
We were close, though. He's a crew member. Joe's got 59 career Winston Cup starts. No poles. No poles. Did a good job of qualifying for this race last fall. He was 4th quick. Finished that race in 11th spot.
All right, we're underway. Time to beat right now is a 180.578, 29.904. 29.904 is fast time for Ricky Rudd.
Walk around the garage area right now, and there are so many drivers worried about their rides for 1996. What am I going to drive? Who am I going to drive for? What now? Here's one guy that doesn't have to worry. He decided to scrap all that, build his own team. He drives for himself. He can't fire himself, so Joe Nemechek is all set for perpetuity. He will drive the 87 until the money runs out.
That was a great report on that Sports Cream Pit Report. I thought that was Bill Taylor down there beside his wife. Good to see him back around the racetrack.
It was. Bill and Nikki Taylor have been fixtures in this circuit for a very, very long while. And Bill, having had some health problems a while back on the scene again, and everybody's glad to see him here.
Nemechek gets a 30.234. That's good for 7th. 178.607. A 178 reading for Joe Nemechek, who is the 25th car on the track with the 49 to run. We're midway through this qualifying for the UAW-GM Quality 500 on Sunday at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ken Schrader buckles down to business.
We're about to start bumping cars out as well. 24 cars have qualified, or 24 have taken time. Let's put it that way. 24 have taken time. Schrader won the most poles in this league in 1993 at 6. In 94, he won none. This year, he won the pole at the first Pocono race.
Yeah, and his best start here was second. He's done that a couple of times. Back in '89, he started right beside Bill Elliott. And you know what happened that year?
Yep.
Came home first.
He's won the pole a couple of times for the spring race, not for the fall race.
Here he is out of turn 4, looking for that first pole in this 500 at Charlotte. Right to the wall and back in line with a Budweiser Chevy. Be a very, there's Rick Hendrick looking on, car owner. So watch back on.
He owns 3 teams, and that's the only one that hasn't won so far. Rudd watching him too.
So taking a look at the time on Schrader out here for his effort today, sees him 15th on the field, 30.540, 176, 817, 176, 817. Now this one could be a slider out here today. This is Ward Burton, and that's the Bill Davis Racing MBNA Pontiac, and you will recall that it was Ward Burton who went out on the pit road, had everybody talking at 29.070, and on the press side had them all talking about a 185.7, a 4-mile-an-hour bust of the old record.
Yeah, and he's got the very fastest lap ever turned here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Ward has. He has done so well with Bill Davis in this number 22 since joining them only a few races back. And boy, I tell you, this is a guy that was in demand. There were an awful lot of teams that wanted him to steer their race car in 1996 and beyond. And before the 1995 season was all but over with, he had left the 31, joined Davis, and boy, he has done a great job for him.
He hurdled that thing through the checkers. Looks like a pretty good run for Ward Burton. The number 22 for Bill Davis, the MBNA car, at 178.915. The time was 30 and 182 one-thousandths of a second. 30.182. That makes him 6th quickest. And here's John Andretti on limbering Little Caesar.
John won the pole at the Southern 500 at Darlington. Had a lot of trouble in the race, but boy, he sure cut a lap to sit himself on the pole for that event. Gordon won the race at the Southern 500. He has 60 career starts, 1 career pole, best finish ever in Winston Cup racing, a 4th.
Del McCowart, he's now on the pole at a 31.0, about there.
On the bubble.
Yeah, on the bubble. Yep, I beg your pardon, on the bubble, 31.0.
Yeah, he's almost certain not to be able to qualify. Jeff Purvis is just above him. Dale Jarrett just above him. Those guys are all in danger of having to run in second-round qualifying. They're not going to have good starting positions for Sunday's race.
Kmart Ford completes its run. And for John Andretti, in number 37, a very respectable 9th. Present time, 30.238. Write that speed down as 178.583 for John Andretti. The number 30, Michael Waltrip, completing his season before he moves on to the Wood Brothers next year. For the Bahari folks in the Pennzoil Pontiac, coming to speed, attempting to be among the fast 25 for the UAW-GM Quality 500 on Sunday. Taking the top 25, trying to take Ricky Rudd off the pole at 29.904. It's been a long time since a Pontiac has set on the pole. Coming around the last Pontiac on the pole, Richmond 83, and finished 5th in this deal.
Wow. Well, NASCAR's given Pontiac some help in the aerodynamic department here. They've got a ½ inch more back spoiler, and that really helps because this is a racetrack where downforce counts an awful lot. And they also have a nose that's closer to the racetrack than either of the other 2 brands. They're only 3½ inches off the ground. The Chevrolets have to be 4 inches off the ground. And if the Pontiac is going to get a great qualifying run, this is the guy to do it. In the last 2 runs here, he's got a 5th and a 2nd qualifying run.
Shovels on the coal, number 30. Michael Waltrip, who started 2nd a year ago, and that's going to make him the 3rd fastest. 30.096, 179.426. Michael Waltrip right now 3rd on the field inside of the 2nd row at 179.426, 30.096. How about a report from Steve Burns?
Ken, we're waiting to talk to Gary Dehart. He's talking to NASCAR official Jimmy Coxa. Gary, Ricky Rudd put some big numbers on the board. Can you get Ricky?
I don't know. We ran quicker in practice, but I don't know. You know, it's got a little bit harder. We just have to wait and see. I believe we're pretty good.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
So here's the story from Gary Dehart, and a great run by Michael Waltrip. Take a look at the front five for this moment. We'll have Ricky Craven right beside Ricky Rudd. A couple of Rickies up in first. Rudd on the pole, Craven beside him, and then comes Michael Waltrip and Mark Martin for row 2. Right now in row 3 we would have Morgan Shepherd and Bobby Hamilton. In row 4 would be Ward Burton and Dick Trickle. Then back in 9th is Nemechek, and 10th John Andretti. As you see, the field still lined up, getting ready to go.
There's a lot more cars to go yet. 7 of the top 10 qualifiers have never won a Winston Cup race, so this is kind of an upside-down starting order, at least so far.
Looking back down the order here of qualifying, there's that top 5 again for you with their speeds, and Rudd the only guy to break 180. Now remember, last year that 185.7, you can give some of that to tires.
Yeah, and you can give some of it to the cool night air as well. Last year when Ward Burton set that run, he did so on Hoosier tires, and boy, they were quick at qualifying, but they are gone.
So the 5 car is rolling. Terry Labonte coming out, and Randy is standing by with the guy who just turned some lap out here.
Michael Waltrip, excellent run for you guys, the Pennzoil Pontiac. Always run well here in qualifying. I know you'd like to get that first win come Sunday. Maybe it'll happen for you.
Yeah, we got a real good car. You know, I talked Doug into changing a little bit there before qualifying, and it just my fault. We were too tight. I felt terrible. I mean, because the car was a pole car. It wasn't no third place car, or whatever it is now, and it wasn't no 7th or 8th, which is where it's probably going to wind up. And those guys prepared a car that should have been on the pole, and I just messed up.
Oh, that takes a big man, and Michael Waltrip is that, standing at about 6'4", so he's a big guy all the way around today. Excellent qualifying run for him.
Currently 3rd and not happy about it. Guy that was on the pole at Talladega earlier this year. Terry Labonte is back to the stripe in the Kellogg's number 5, and let's see what this is going to register. He's 6th quickest at 30. 30.143 for Terry Labonte. 179.146 as Earnhardt rolls down pit road and gets ready for his go. Just being bumped was Dale Jarrett. On the bubble right now is Bill Elliott. Elliott with a 30.76 in jeopardy as Earnhardt gets ready to qualify.
You know, when Earnhardt told us earlier he didn't qualify very well here, get this, in the spring of 1995, he started this race 34th. Last fall, he started 38th. By the way, he finished 3rd last fall. Spring of 94, he started 24th, so he is a lousy qualifier here at Charlotte, but the majority of the money comes at the very end of the race, and he sure does well there.
Now wait a minute. Now, remember 86? Yeah, he qualified 3rd, and he won it.
Yep, and both races in 86 he qualified 3rd.
And then in 80 he was right back. That was that Mike Kerb, Warner Hodgson deal.
Yep.
Outside of the 2nd row, won it that year.
Okay, so for the last couple of years he hasn't done well.
All right, here he is, the man in black, under the black and white. And let's see what Earnhardt comes up with for a time. Watch Bergen be right again. All right, time is
we lucked out on that one.
30.63 and then some. All right, here it comes for Earnhardt. Not a good run at all. 30.633, 176T, 280. The doctor is right another time.
We got lucky.
Now there it is, the country gourmet car. Yes, the number 9 out there. Here he is in the old Spam can. Ready to go, Lake Speed. Let's see what he'll do on his 1 lap of qualifying.
Never won a pole in Winston Cup competition. Needed a provisional to make the field last week at Wilkesboro. But I'll tell you what, Ken, Charlotte Motor Speedway is his racetrack almost as much as Darlington is his racetrack. He was 5th here in the race last fall. He runs this track so very well.
He can take Gary Bradshaw out of the top 25 in the qualifying for this first round with a good run here.
47-year-old race car driver. He knows he has not got much longer to drive these things.
All right. Let's see what Lake Speed's going to roll up in car number 9. For Spam, he's 19th quickest, 30.487, 177, 125. 30.487, 177 plus for Lake Speed as he woes it down. So coming up next in his third start will be Todd Bodine in the factory stores T-Bird, another one of the Bodine brothers, that trio in Winston Cup racing. Troy Selberg, who's leaving at the end of this year's crew chief on that car, looking for a good run today, still looking for their first pole.
And looking for their first win as a team as well. And this team is not set for 1996, and Todd Bodine says he really needs to have a good weekend this weekend. They've got the contract in the hands of the sponsor, but they don't yet have a signature on the dotted line, so they are trying exceptionally hard this weekend to put in a good run.
A lot of that going around. A lot of that getting that pen right there, but it isn't quite righting yet. Here he is, the youngest of the Bodine brothers, out of turn 4. Man on the bubble at the present time is Jimmy Hensley in the 31 car. And the 75 car, let's see what Todd Bodine's going to throw up here for time. Jimmy Hensley is out of it as far as the top 25 and getting a time on Bodine. Looks like pretty good one here. He's up to 6th quickest. How about a 30.135? 179.194.
Wow.
Qualifying midday, as you pointed out, instead of at night. That's making a couple of miles an hour different. Here's the 19, Loy Allen. Hey, Steve Burns is down there with another top contender for the pole.
Ken, Sterling Marlin's team, the Morgan McClure team, they've been kind of quiet. Now, Sterling, what do you guys got? Are you just kind of laying back, or are you playing possum? What do you guys got?
Well, we've got a new car here, and just trying to get the kinks and bugs worked out of it, but we gained a lot today, and maybe we can get in the top 5. I'll try, but I think after we get through qualified here, we can make some more changes and get a little better.
Thanks, Sterling.
How about this, Dr. Dick? Dale Earnhardt's on the bubble. 25th. Loy Allen in that Health Source car, the T-Bird, trying to take him out of there. TriStar Motorsports coming to the checkers. Let's see what he's done. Loy Allen had a lot of good runs last year. He's 25th. He just inches out Earnhardt. Yeah, by milliseconds. Loy Allen at 30.610, 176.413. And Earnhardt was in there at 30.63, so that's pretty close.
They're not happy, those two guys. Childress and Petrie, the car owner and the crew chief, respectively. There's Bobby Hillen in the 77, the U.S. Air car.
T-Bird, Jasper Motorsports, ready to give it a shot here today. That one career win. Boy, that's an ominous thing when you went over there at Talladega and then it doesn't happen again in 1986.
Long wait. Yep. Bump so far. Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Hensley, Gary Bradbury, Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Purvis, Del McCowart, Billy Standridge. They're all going to have to try again. And some of them will probably go home.
Loy Allen Jr. on the bubble for the moment. Earnhardt just has been bumped. Let's see what Bobby Hillen's going to do out here with that U.S. Air number 77 T-Bird. Native of Midland, Texas, is across the stripe on the 1.5 miles here at Charlotte. And the time coming up on the 77 is 17th, 30.316, 178.124 for Bobby Hillen. And there you see the top 5 at this moment for Sunday's 500. The Meineke, number 29, the Monte Carlo that Steve Grissom is controlling out there, picking up some time as it tries to get itself into the top 25 for the UAW-GM Quality 500 Sunday on TBS at 1 o'clock.
This is one of the young drivers to be watching for in the years to come. He's only 32 years old. He's only run Winston Cup here at Charlotte on 3 separate occasions. What a future he has. He's the 1993 Grand National Champion.
Loy Allen Jr. has been bumped, and Rich Bickle is now the guy on the bubble in that 25th spot. Bickle in car number 40. We saw him earlier out here, had a 30.6. You know, that thing looks a little unstable as you watch it.
Yeah, it looks a little wiggly, but I'm very sure, knowing Grissom, he's got his leg right in that thing, trying to get absolutely everything out of it he possibly can. So he's probably just a little over the ragged edge.
Gadsden, Alabama racer, getting some time in on car number 29, and that's right on the nickel, 25th position for Steve Grissom. That's a 30.586 at 176.5. Be hard to make that one stand up. Let's go down to a Steve Burns.
Well, Dick Berger's been talking about guys looking for rides in 1996. Bobby Labonte getting set to go out. Won't be. He and crew chief Jimmy Makar just signed 5-year contracts. Bobby, what do you have today?
Good feeling knowing we signed a 5-year contract. So, you know, the Interstate Battery Chevrolet is running real good. The track slowed down quite a bit, so everybody's going to be a little slower, and we knew that. But Ricky turned in an awful good lap, and there's a lot of good cars left to go. So we want to get in a good, consistent lap for right now to get a good starting position for Sunday's race. So we'll just see what we can do here.
And guys, Bobby Labonte, among the people here in the garage area, they say watch the 18 car, so he's got a shot at it.
Labonte coming up about 4 away, and Jeff Gordon 4 behind him. Elton Sawyer out of Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Junior Johnson Hooters Ford finishes his run. And that one is going to be not, let's see, it's right in there. It's very, very close.
Nope, didn't make it.
Let's see, didn't make it. Nope. Just on the edge. Elton Sawyer at 30.640, 176.240. So, for the moment, we're going to have Steve Grissom still on the bubble as we watch number 32, the Fina car, and Greg Sachs get ready for a run, the Active Motorsport Chevy.
He's one of the drivers that was watching the weather very carefully. He doesn't have enough points to have made this race if qualifying had been rained out, so he was really hoping we'd get a nice day to give it a shot so he could drive his way into the event. If we'd been rained out, they would have started the race on Sunday based on points. He doesn't have enough.
30.5. Grissom's time that has to be beaten here by car number 32. The intention of Sachs is to make the top 25. He's won a couple of poles, Daytona and Atlanta. It's been a while since that has happened. Actually, Atlanta in '94 and Daytona way back in 1990.
One career win, Firecracker 400 in 1985 with Gary Nelson as his crew chief.
Okay, the Monte Carlo completes its run, and it's not going to be good enough. It's a 30.76, and that's going to keep him well back. Ricky Rudd is there on the pole. The Kodiak Monte Carlo of Sterling Marlin ready to attempt qualifying for the UAW-GM 500 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 9 career poles have been registered for Sterling Marlin, but his best start in this 500-mile race at Charlotte, 9th back in 1988.
He does not have a reputation as a very strong qualifier, but he has an increasingly good reputation as a great racer, and he surely knows his way around this Charlotte Motor Speedway. He has won the Winston Open on 3 separate occasions. He has won a Grand National race here from all the way in the back. He had to run the Hooligan and started way, way, way back in that Grand National event that he won for Fred Turner in 1990.
1 pole in 1995 for car number 4. Tony Glover, the crew chief. Sterling Marlin out of 4. Perfect line as he brings it to the stripe. And Sterling Marlin for car number 4 as Bobby Labonte gets ready. Has 11th fastest time of the day. 30.219 for Sterling Marlin. 178.696 coming up. 178.696. That makes him 11th fastest. Now we see car number 90 coming onto the track.
And Steve Grissom is gone. Kenny Wallace is on the pole. If Mike Wallace in the 90 manages to make the field, he's going to bump his own brother out. I wonder what dinner will be like this evening.
The Heilig Myers Ford. Going to get some business done here.
Yeah, let's make that Kenny Wallace is on the bubble, not the pole. There's
on
a fella,
the bubble.
Yeah, there's a car number 10, a fellow named Rudd that's on the pole.
At 185.78, 29.904.
And right now, less than 0.6 of 1 second separate pole from 25th. And when they talk about those tenths down in the garage area as they are holding the stopwatch, that's exactly what they're talking about. It does not take much to separate those who sit on the pole from those who go home on the trailer these days. It's a very competitive field.
30.57 to make the top 25. Time is in. Let's see what it'll be on Mike Wallace and the Heilig Myers car. As it comes up, it's not good enough. 31.30 31.33. It's well down. There it is. 31.39. 172.018. The man everybody's talking about is standing by with Steve Burns.
Jeff Gordon trying to nail down his first championship. Jeff, what do you got today for qualifying?
Well, the car was real good in practice, so, you know, we've got a shot at it. It's just, you know, the sun's come out. Drawing a late number was good for night, but it's not the best thing for the daytime. But we're going to give it a, you know, a hard run, and we're going to go for the pole and see what we got for him.
Good luck. Let's go back upstairs to Ken and Dick.
Going for the pole right now is Corpus Christi, Texas, Bobby Labonte in the Joe Gibbs Interstate Batteries Chevrolet. Won the Coca-Cola 600 this past May. Would love to make it 2 in a row and give Gibbs 3 in a row.
Yeah, he won that race in this car. He started second quick in this car. He also won both Michigan races in this car, and everybody has had a watch on him at some point. This could be the pole.
Set on the pole at Martinsville and at Michigan, completing his qualifying lap, Bobby Labonte. Marta Collar is shut off, rolls, time, not good. How about 19th? 30.320, 178, 100 is not going to get it done. That's going to leave Chad Little on the bubble. We're back at the Charlotte Motor Speedway watching Rick Mast of Rockbridge Baths, Virginia, make his run in the Skoal Classic T-Bird, 1 lap, as he tries to make his 7th start here in this 500-mile race this Sunday at Charlotte.
He's done this 181 times before, done a qualifying lap. He has wound up on the pole 3 times in those 181 attempts. Good time trialer, Rick Mast. Real good time trialer.
He was on the pole at Dover this year.
Yeah.
Here he is, down into 3. Always a smooth racer. And remember, he made history when he was the first NASCAR pole sitter at Indy. He's in trouble. He is spinning up for the wall. Misses it.
So far,
and then may have brushed it. We'll take another look there.
Yeah, he caught it on the right front corner, Ken. He just pushed in the nose of that car a little bit, and that is definitely going to hurt. Obviously, he loses his time trial position at this point. He's now going to have to try it again, push the nose of the car in. What a disappointment for Rick Mast.
So that's the second car to have trouble up there in turns 3 and 4 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Saw a big one a little earlier up there. Let's take another look at what happened to Rick Mast.
So far, so good. Everything's nice and smooth, but look at the tail end starting to come out further, further, further. Tries to save it. Look at the front wheels. He's turning into the spin. He's doing the right stuff. But there it is. It's gone now. Now you see all the smoke. He's got her locked up. Watch the roof flaps come up. Boom. There's one of them started to come up anyway. There they come. Bang. As soon as he gets it backwards. Got the front wheels locked up. Now the rear wheels are all locked up, and Rick Mast is going for a slide for life. Don't hit that wall, please. And almost got away without hitting it. Just a little scrunch there in the right front corner.
Second car to have trouble up on that end of the track. Billy Standridge the first, and he had far more dire results. Tore his car up badly. Just a little brushing of the concrete by Rick Mast. Here's Jeff Burton's Raybestos Brakes Ford making its run as Jeff goes in his second start for the 500 if all goes well here. Still looking for that first pole.
He sure is. The 94 Series Rookie of the Year, Jeff Burton. He's going to run the 3rd Jack Roush car in 1996, so he is all set. 57 career starts, no poles.
Chad Little on the bubble at 30.5. See if number 8 was able to pull that off. Indeed, great time on Jeff Burton. That's the 11th quickest, 30.2, and there's Jeff Burton in his car getting ready to come out. Jeff Gordon getting ready to come out. 30.200, 178. That's 808. 178, 808. As you see Jeff Gordon getting ready to come out here and make a stab at the pole. Number 98 is now running. That means Chad Little has been knocked out of the top 25, and Ken Schrader finds himself on the bubble as Jeremy Mayfield takes the track.
Boy, you think about Schrader on the bubble here. That just almost doesn't wash, because his worst qualifying run until today was 11th in 1994, looking in the records all the way back to 1989.
Well, if you think about some of those guys that aren't in there. Earnhardt's not in there. Yeah, Bill Elliott's not in there.
Jarrett's not in there. I mean, this is a tough, tough field to crack. Grissom didn't make it so far.
Well, Cale Yarborough's young hope in that RCA, number 98, the Ford. Jeremy Mayfield, just 26 years of age, out of Owensboro, Kentucky, striking out of turn number 4.
And everybody's waiting for the car that's going to follow him, which will be Jeff Gordon. He's only tried to qualify for the pole here 5 times, done it 3 times.
Here's the 10th fastest time, folks. Jeremy Mayfield at 30.185 as Gordon comes on the track. Jeremy Mayfield, 30.185, 178.697.
And what that says is that this track is not getting slower at all. The last 2 cars to come out have done very, very well. Gordon may have a shot at the pole after all.
Ray Everhand looking on, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon. Schrader has been bumped from today's field. Lake Speed is on the bubble at 30.48 as we watch Jeff Gordon settle in for his run.
Yahoo, and I'll tell you what, this crowd is with him.
Third-year racer Jeff Gordon, 24 years of age, takes the DuPont Auto Finishes Lumina down on the bottom. He eases it out on the back straightaway. 10 career poles, and the first 2 were right here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And he has the complete attention of everyone on pit road, but no one more than Ricky Rudd and his crew, watching to see if he is going to take him off the pole.
29.904 is the pole. Let's see if it changes here. Ricky Rudd is there for the moment. Time coming up. And his time is 3rd quickest, 30.061. Ricky Rudd stays in front. Craven stays 2nd. Jeff Gordon 3rd. Speed 179.635. More to come from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stay with us. Down to the final 4 cars to attempt qualifying. Watching Robert Presley, the 36-year-old out of Asheville, North Carolina, takes the Skull Bandit Lumina into turn number 1.
Needed a provisional to make the field last week, Robert Presley did. One of the strong rookies. He's battling for the Rookie of the Year honors with Ricky Craven, who has already done such a good job of qualifying. Craven has qualified 2nd quick. He's still there.
6 points behind Craven for Rookie of the Year. Robert Presley doing his thing through 3 and 4. Brother is his crew chief. Here he is to the line. Lake Speed has been bumped on the bubble. Jimmy Spencer for the moment, and this run by Presley's a good one. That's 19th. That's going to bump Jimmy Spencer. Time coming up, 30 and 277 one-thousandths of a second, 178.353 miles per hour on Robert Presley, just behind Kyle Petty and just in front of Rusty Wallace.
Darrell Waltrip on the bubble right now. Hard to imagine. DW, 84 wins and has done so well here at Charlotte. 6 victories on the bubble.
Hut Strickland on the track in the Quaker State T-Bird, number 26. For Kenny Bernstein, looking for his first pole.
Kenny Bernstein's last appearance here as a car owner. The team is still for sale. They don't have a buyer yet.
Oh, he throws that one out of number 2.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you what, if anybody can ride one of these Broncos, there's the guy, Hut Strickland.
So it's Rudd, Craven, Gordon, and Michael Waltrip in those first 2 rows at the present time. Hut Strickland trying to nose his way in there. Strickland gives that car a ride. Let's see if it's going to get him anywhere. Time on Hut Strickland is a 30.29, and it makes him 19th fastest. 178.271. Bobby Allison's car number 12, the Straight Arrow Ford, with Derek Cope at the controls. Native of Spanaway, Washington, ready to make his qualifying effort for the UAW-GM 500 Sunday at 1 o'clock.
He also needed a provisional to make the field last week at Wilkesboro. Tells you something about how very hard it is to get into these Winston Cup races. His best finish in 1995 so far, 5th at the first Darlington.
Regular racing fans remember back in '87, Bobby Allison, he was on the pole for this race. That was '87. The speed was 167. He finished 2nd. Today, Ricky Rudd's up there at 180.
167 wouldn't even put you in another zip code as far as speeds anymore.
Well, let's see here. Coming up, Derek Cope. Let's see. His time is a 30.46, 177, 282. And that's not going to get it done. Just outside of it for the moment. 27th.
Last car on the track's going to be number 7.
Yep, Waltrip's been bumped. Dave Marcus is on the bubble right now. Jeff Bodine, last guy who's going to take time. He's the last scheduled car to take time.
Set on the pole here in 86 for this event. Sure like to give it one more shot for Exide Batteries. Randy Pemberton standing by with Ray Evernham. This car just ran. Randy?
Well, how do you feel? Is that a disappointment? I suppose it would be, even though you qualified very well.
Well, I mean, it kind of is. You know, we like to be on the pole here, but I saw some cars spin, and I thought it was getting slick, and we just took a conservative approach because, you know, we've lost a couple cars in qualifying, and, you know, third's better than being spun out, and we ended up pushing. That's what happened to them. But, you know, like I said, we're just, we've got 8 poles this year, and we didn't need to bend that race car up, and I guess I was a little more conservative than I should have been.
Okay, thanks. Good luck in the 500. Ken?
Checkers down for Jeff Bodine in car number 7, the Exide Batteries T-Bird. And Jeff's team is going to get themselves a, let's see, 30.460, 177, 30.481, 177, 160. And Bodine's effort made him 29th quickest. That will not put him in the front 25, leaving Dave Marcus in the top 25. Looks like we've come to the official finish of qualifying, and we'll take a look at the story of who's made it and who hasn't on day 1 of qualifying at Charlotte in a moment. So stay with us as we get ready to wrap it up. Pole position qualifying for the UAW-GM 500 belongs to Ricky Rudd. The UAW-GM 500 qualifying on Prime has been brought to you by Sports Cream. When you overdo it, massage in Sports Cream for fast relief of sore muscles without embarrassing order. With the pole sitter for the 1995 UAW-GM 500, here's Steve Burns.
And that man, as you said, Ken, is Ricky Rudd. Ricky, we talked to you on pit road. You said you thought you had a shot at it. How'd you feel during the lap?
Well, it felt like a good lap. The tied down E4 was a little bit tight in the middle of the corner, but the sunshine was also out, and I'm really tickled that we're on the pole. I didn't really think it would hold up. I thought we'd end up about 3rd or 4th in the back of my mind, but hey, it held up. That's great.
Ricky, taking the pole is a great honor, very prestigious here at Charlotte, but of course the goal is to win the race.
Well, we came over here the other week and worked on nothing but race setup. Never looked at qualifying 1 minute, and strictly worked on longer runs. The car in race configuration with the open grille and race trim. And I was really pleased when we left out of here. Matter of fact, we were scheduled for a 2-day test, and we cut it just to a 1-day test because the car was so good. And so I'm really, this is like a gift because I didn't feel like the pole was really something we had worked on. The race setup, I'd have been disappointed had we not had a car that would run up front, gauged off of how well it tested. And I'm more optimistic about the race than I am the pole.
Ricky, let's go back upstairs. Once again, Ricky, congratulations.
Thank you.
Great day for Ricky Rudd as he takes his 23rd career pole. And let's look at how they qualified here today down through the field. Remember, 25 made it from the 49 that started today into the UAW-GM 500. There's the top 5. Rudd. Ricky Craven, the rookie, stayed up there for the front row. Gordon, Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin.
Yeah, it's a surprise. Look at this. The Fords are running up front, and everybody figured that they couldn't possibly do that here at Charlotte. This is Rudd's very first career Charlotte pole.
Shepard, Bodine, Labonte, Bobby Hamilton for Richard Petty. Put that Pontiac through its paces. Ward Burton. Good. And now you get a little further back. Jeremy Mayfield for Cale Yarborough with 11th spot out there.
Yeah, and Dick Trickle, a good run starting in 12th. Jeff Burton in 13th. Sterling Marlin 14th. Joe Nemechek will start 15th on Sunday.
Now take a look back here. There's John Andretti still coming on with Ted Musgrave on the pole a week ago, followed by Kyle, Robert Presley, and Rusty Wallace having to settle for 20th.
Yeah, but at least he's in. Doesn't have to try this again.
So Hut Strickland, Brett Bodine, Bobby Hillen Jr., Bobby Labonte, and Dave Marcus. Dave Marcus, how about that for David, rounding out the top 25 in our qualifying today? And here's how the rest of them qualified as we get ready. How about it, Dick Berger? And what do you look for in Sunday's race?
I look for some kind of an upset, Ken. 11 of the 17 top qualifiers have never won a Winston Cup race. The guy that's starting on the pole had never won a pole here. I mean, Sunday could be a real surprise.
I look for Bobby Hamilton to have a wonderful day. That team is getting stronger by the moment as we get down toward the UAW-GM 500 Sunday at 1 o'clock. You'll be seeing it on TBS, and Saturday, the All-Pro Auto Parts bumper-to-bumper race. That's Saturday at 1 o'clock. So on behalf of Steve Burns and Randy Pemberton, and our thanks to Dr. Dick Berggren of Stock Car Racing Magazine, I'm Ken Squire. Hope you've enjoyed our prime coverage of pole position qualifying here today at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Don't forget, on TBS, coming up on Sunday, the UAW-GM Quality 500. Hope you'll be with us to enjoy all the action. That's it for today. The man on the pole is Ricky Rudd, and a rookie will start outside of the front row for the 500 Sunday. From the Charlotte Motor Speedway, I'm Ken Squire.